Okay. Okay. I'm not sure we're on the air. I really am not. Okay, there we go. Folks, I don't know how long we've been on the air. Apparently, we're just now coming on the air. Maybe. Still waiting? Okay, there we go. pjnet.tv. We are live, and our bumper's running, and we have our guest waiting, or recording, streaming, I assume. Let's count it down. 2, Studio 9, starting now. Well, good evening. Welcome. This is pjnet.tv. I'm your host, Coach Prasick, and I am so glad that you have stopped scrolling to join us, and I know that you are going to be encouraged. Keep that word in mind, folks. Encouraged, and encouragement, and encourager. Stephanie Pavlantos joins us every month about this time, and as you can see behind me over there is her book, Jewels of Hebrews, coming to you. By the way, before we switch over to Stephanie, if you're watching this on social media, we're glad you're here, but I wanted to invite you to join some friends who are gathering right now. There's the live view of the pjnet.tv chat room on the right, video on the left. You can watch the same thing over there and make some new friends. They're all waiting to greet you. What a great family. It's the best kept secret on the internet, really. Okay, enough of that. Stephanie Pavlantos comes to us each month, and she's wearing her purple tonight. And folks, her microphone is not doing its usual good job. So if the sound gets a little low, I may have to interrupt you, Stephanie, to, I'm going to do all I can to pick it up on this end. But so many people are starting the new year wondering, what am I going to do this year? And your church actually institutionalizes and formalizes this notion of book of the year. That's coming. Word for the year, and you take it serious.
Right. They brought up, and I was getting emails about it, and word of the year. And I had a woman at church approach me and say, do you know how this works? Would you like to join us? And they actually, so when she asked me, I was kind of like, well, how about if I pray about it and see what the Lord says? Because they were like, well, you can pick it from a list, you can pick it from this or that or whatever. And I'm like, well, I think I'll just wait and see what the Lord says about it. And so as I thought about it, as I prayed about it, and kind of waited, for something to come up, it was just like the word deeper came to me. And I was like, is that my word? And I just thought, as I instantly, once I heard it in my mind, in my heart, I just started thinking of all the aspects that it could mean. And so I liked it, and I'm like, that's my goal. It's a goal, and it's a word, because there's more to it than just being a word. Like last year I had merciful and or mercy, and then I kind of launched into the whole Beatitudes thing, and that word came up, and then different times it came up through the year. But deeper was something I thought, that's a really good goal for me, to just go deeper in a lot of different areas, but of course, especially in the area of my walk with the Lord and in the Word. Because I think it's easy, I should say, to stay on the fringes of our walk with the Lord. It gets hard. It can be hard. It can get, when the Lord calls us to surrender, and He calls us to walk into paths that aren't so easy, it's, you'll kind of like hold back and say, no, I'm not going there. I'm not going there. I don't want to go there. That's going to be hard. That's going to be difficult. That's going to be painful. But I think when He calls us deeper into something, despite the pain, despite even the heartache that it might cause, there's a reward on the other end for going deeper. And that's what I want to hear and see and experience with the Lord.
Well, deep. You've got me thinking a little deeper into the word itself. Usually, when we think deep water. So we don't want to go deeper, as in 6 foot under the dirt.
Right.
But a lot of things that we latch on to something, okay, and we try and walking with the Lord. A new idea comes along, and the newness of it, the freshness of it, the excitement of it.
Right.
It
Right.
drives us and it pulls us in, and we gravitate to those things. But here's the problem, Stephanie. As we go deeper, we find out the challenges. We find
That's
out
right.
that the initial, for lack of a better word, novelty of it. Once that feeling wears off and we get deeper, we come face to face and grapple with the realities of walking with Christ in a lost and dark world. And I want to use that as a way to kind of segue into. I was so excited when you and Starr, when you shared your testimony, and Starr got on board, and the two of you were writing a book, and you put out this thing. The excitement was just almost uncontainable for me, at least, even though I'm not doing it. But now it's what, about a month or so out.
Right.
Okay, the excitement's wore off. Now the grind.
Right.
How's
Right.
it going?
It's going well. We had a really good response to when we put it out there that we were looking for other stories from moms and friends and siblings, and we've even had a few women who lived the life either as a daughter or as that child with the special needs that are now writers, and just able to write their story themselves. So we had a great response to that, and really excited about reading some of the stories. And I actually sent Starr one of my stories today, and she has had a lot going on, so she hasn't been able to sit down and write out her stuff. But just putting it down on paper, and then thinking and reliving some of that, yeah, I mean, it's exciting, but I think that it's going to be, we talked about, you said encouragement. I mean, I think it's going to be a really big encouragement to some people who wonder, what can I do better? What
Yeah.
can I do to help somebody in that situation, a family in that situation, a new mom? It's just finding out that her daughter or her child going to have a special need, going to have a medical issue the rest of their life. How to be an encouragement to somebody who's dealing with that. What to say, what maybe not, maybe just not what to say right then, just tips, and hopefully, part of the title of the book is encouragement from special needs families. So,
Stephanie, a lot as an outsider, not a writer. I work with so many writers and authors, and an observation that I've made, and I'm not trying to be overly harsh. I'm just trying to be objective. But I think sometimes the inspiration to write books, is therapeutic for the author. In other words, they're really writing their own life, and through that, they are getting some comfort.
right.
And those sometimes make some good stories, but at the end of the day, it's not something that I'm not drawn into that. I'm not getting that feeling about your work with Starr at all. I think this is an offering to all people, believers and unbelievers alike, are affected.
Yeah.
And I'm very encouraged. Now, both of us have used the word encouraged. I noticed on Facebook today you got some encouragement.
I did. I woke up to a message on, it's called the Akron Photography Society, and once I really got interested in photography, I joined a few pages and a few societies, and one's in Cleveland, one's in Akron, and so anyway, they had seen a picture I had put on this site from the weekend when I was down in southern Ohio with family, and it was, of course, a picture of a waterfall, and it was such a pretty
Imagine
park.
that.
I know. It was such a pretty park, and it had four waterfalls, and so I put one of them on. And they sent me a message saying that they loved my photo and would like to feature it in their newsletter as photo of the week. And so I was very excited about that. So,
That's
and that is just kind of, and not only encouragement, but it's kind of validation. It's like, hey, I can take a pretty good photo that gets noticed. So,
well. Well, the message that I got when I saw that is, thank goodness for that occasional word of encouragement. And it doesn't have to be that
exactly.
you are going to be featured. It was just that blessed me, that helped me, that gave me peace, or whatever it may be.
Right.
And I know that so many people are hurting,
Mm,
with everything going on. That
yeah.
these are not the golden days, that
Mm,
we dreamed about going through college. That someday you'll be able to, stay at home and
right. Right.
and not go anywhere and wear
Yeah.
masks and
Wear
all
masks
the yeah
everywhere.
all that kind of stuff. We all recognize that we need encouragement, and
Mm,
and yet so few of us realize that we need to be an encourager.
right.
Um,
Right.
no matter how bad you have it, you can always encourage someone else.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
it like we need oxygen. It's
Hmm.
it's a basic human need of affirmation.
Hmm.
And I was delighted for you. Now I didn't know that
Thank
you were
you.
taking. I knew you took some beautiful scenery, but I didn't know that you had gotten into the Shutterbug. Are you actually getting nice cameras and lenses and all that, or are you just using an iPhone?
Oh no, can I show you?
Please
I
do.
got this for Christmas.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh
So a
my.
nice, my lenses are in my bag, but yeah, this is one lens, and then I got a lens that comes out to about, probably that's
Uh,
not, but here, a little, it's about twice the size.
have you figured out how to
So
use it?
I have been working on it. So
Put
yes,
it on auto. That's how you.
know, I'm actually learning to not use auto at all. So
I
manual for me, but you know that, but it's
Yeah.
fun.
Oh, we have one good camera. Yeah, yeah, we have one similar. It's a Nikon
Hmm.
D850, which was
Okay.
their top of the line until their 950 came out, and
Mm.
we were able to get it for like half price. And it's not something we use often,
Hmm.
but when you're in a low light environment, were you at the Ohio Writers Conference a year or so ago?
I was actually there in 2017. That's the
Okay,
last
well,
time I
if
was
they
there.
had the venue was a church, a sanctuary,
Right.
but it was dimly lit.
Mm.
Stephanie Barber and I drove up all the way to Ohio,
Wow.
and I'm taking all this footage. And when I got home, I realized I can't use most of it. The vast
Oh.
majority of it was just too dark.
Hmm.
And what you can't go into somebody else's church and say, hey,
Turn
you
the
need to,
lights on.
yeah, turn the light. Yeah, I mean, it's their venue.
Yeah.
So fortunately, a friend of mine in our small group Bible study he's not a professional, but he might as well be.
Hmm. Knows
He
more.
he helped us select a camera, and it was a used camera. Yeah.
Hmm.
But what's nice when you're shooting video, Stephanie, is the shutter clicks. It's got the little counter. Well, it doesn't matter with video how worn out the shutter is because the shutter stays open.
Right.
So,
Yeah, exactly. The
yeah.
shutter, like your shutter speed and your aperture, because the
Hmm.
aperture is just like your pupil, and it
Hmm.
closes with
Yeah.
a lot of light, and it opens really
Hmm.
wide when
When it's darker.
there's not much light.
Hmm.
So sorry, I almost pulled
Well,
that
and
out.
we had to get a fast lens for low light. I mean,
Yes.
that's why we have it, is so it can, even though we only shoot at 30 frames per second, but that's still, we don't, anyway, y'all are
Yeah.
getting tired of
It's
the
very
tech talk here.
fun. It's lots of fun to learn the whole lingo thing. And I still actually, like almost every day, I watch a video on setting up a YouTube channel, and I watch a video on photography. And I have this one favorite guy who's in England, and just so much fun to watch him and his really dry sense of humor, but sometimes he just makes me laugh. And so it's just really interesting. There's so much you can learn online anymore. You don't have to go and pay all this money for classes.
Well,
And
water, speaking of deeper, and I wonder
yes,
to what extent, the word deeper implies water, and all, the vast majority, almost every picture I've seen from you is a waterfall.
I know.
Water presents some real problems in photography.
Hmm.
It's well, it's highly reflective on the one hand, yet it's
Which is
very
beautiful.
well, and it's also transparent. Now, this is called
Hmm.
Fresnel. You know what I mean when I say Fresnel?
I'm not aware of that
Oh,
word.
it's Fresnel. Fresnel. Imagine you've seen those pictures of the mountains, the snow-capped mountains,
Uh-huh.
with a body of still water in front of it, and the water
Yes.
is highly reflective. It looks like a
Right.
mirror, right?
Hmm.
Well, that's
Hmm.
because the angle is far off and therefore very low. Now, as you bring your
Right.
eye down, if you were standing in the water, you would see your feet.
Right.
So the water is fully transparent. So Fresnel is that ratio or mixture or attribute of reflection versus transparency, not
Okay.
reflection versus
Okay.
refraction. And water is not your typical dielectric. Okay, it's not a solid. It's
Right.
not a it is water is in a class of its own.
You're right. You're right. I teach. The times I teach chemistry, you have liquid and you have an aqueous solution, and only water is a true liquid.
Mhm.
So everything else is a solution or an aqueous solution. So it's like, it's very interesting, the compounds and even the hydrogen bonding. I mean, we could go really deep with,
Well, let's go
with
deeper. Well,
biology and
well, here's
everything.
one
But
for you. Water is unique in that every other substance,
mhm,
as it gets colder, it gets denser. Heat expands things, right?
right.
Therefore, cold contracts.
Hmm.
Except water. Frozen
Hmm.
water floats.
Right. Right.
And
Which
and
is the
and
density of water
it is
and
and there are
properties.
so many stories, so many takes you could go with water.
Oh
Water
yeah.
water floats boats, but
Hmm.
frozen water sunk the Titanic.
Hmm.
The very water that floats the boat
Right. Right.
sunk it.
Right. And it's the same, and even in the book of Genesis, God used water. I mean, without water, there would be no life at all on our planet. And yet he used water to take life, you know?
Hmm.
And
Well, what about the
because
fish? Did
it's,
they die too?
I think that, don't ask me questions like that. If they got caught over land when the waters
Yeah, well,
receded,
yeah.
but yeah.
Noah didn't take any fish on the ark.
No, I don't think
I
he
don't know.
did. Didn't have any tanks for him, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
but water is normally depicted in the scriptures as life, as something
right,
good,
right.
and the earth stands, well, as best we can tell,
Hmm.
the volume of water. And scientists really have no explanation of where it came from. I mean, I've seen their cockeyed theories on it,
Right.
but I'm like, well, just read the book of Genesis and you'll find out how it
Hmm.
happened. God said,
Yeah.
poof, and there it was. But they're perplexed as to how much water the earth has. It's what, 2/3 water.
Right. Right. And it's the same as our bodies. I mean, it's amazing the properties and the different aspects of the world, like even the minerals, okay, if you go down to the nutrition that plants need that are found in the soil is the same ratio as what we have in our bodies. Well, of
Really?
course, that's not, yeah, I mean, it's not a mistake. It's not even a coincidence. I mean, it's like that because it's life. It's what we need for life. And if the things we're going to eat have the wrong proportions in them, then that's not going to help us live healthy lives.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for instance, in our bodies, we need a 2-to-1 ratio of magnesium and calcium, and they're opposites. Magnesium tears calcium down, but calcium builds and makes bones and if you get too much calcium in your body, you get bumps,
Yeah.
literally like bone spurs and things in your joints. But magnesium keeps that at a minimum. It keeps it from happening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you go to feed, basically give your soil and your plants nutrition, you do it at the exact same ratio. They need a 2-to-1 ratio of magnesium to calcium. They need all the things that we need. And even when you look at photosynthesis is exactly the opposite of our breathing cycle,
Mm-hmm.
And it's so amazing to me when I got into biology and how God created life to happen. And of course, in water, the major thing that water has is hydrogen bonding.
Mm-hmm.
And hydrogen bonding, without it, there would be no life on this planet because there would be no life in us. Our whole genetic structure is due to hydrogen bonding. And without it, our DNA would fall apart.
Right.
It-
You've
and
heard
it's
of
just,
dihydrate monoxide.
mm,
You heard the scam about that, didn't you?
yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess for those of you that haven't, they circulated a petition to ban dihydrogen just monoxide, whatever.
Right.
And they gave it, and everybody got scared, and they all signed it. Well, that's H2O.
Right.
It's water. And gullible people sign these petitions, and not even know what they're talking about. But the interesting thing to me, and God is such a brilliant engineer. Ben spoke of this last night, talking about the details. Hydrogen. If you go look at the periodic chart of the elements, the volatile ones are up in the corners. A hydrogen bomb.
Yeah.
It's not by accident that they chose hydrogen to make this deadly explosive bomb.
Right.
Okay. Now, any type of explosion, fire, combustion, you name it, the necessary ingredient, without oxygen, there can be no combustion. Cannot
Right.
be. Okay.
Right.
So if you were to combine hydrogen, this highly volatile combustible substance, and combine it with oxygen, you wouldn't want to throw that on water, on a lit match. But yet it puts
Heat
the
it.
match out. That doesn't make sense. That should be a deadly combination. But no, it's water. Puts
Yeah.
fire out. When there's
Yeah.
fire, go get water. Did you know? Trivia, folks. We're going a little long tonight. That's okay. But that one thing that saved our butt in World War II is we actually put carbon dioxide in cylinders and on our carriers. So when a fire broke out, they would uncork these cylinders. It's
Right.
heavier than air because the bombs, would drop through the deck of the ship and blow up underneath. So it was the underdecks that were burning,
Right.
and that puts. It's not a good idea to pump water into a ship.
Right. If you wanted to stay afloat.
Yeah. But rather clever thing. But God is a tremendous. The details,
Yes.
the effect the moon has on waters. We call that the tide.
Right.
Well, folks, if it weren't for that delicate balance, we would be extinct.
We would. And even during the development process of human beings, I mean, as we develop in our mother's womb, I think what really impressed me was learning that from conception until birth. I took a class and it just blew me away. The way that how many things can go wrong and how many times it doesn't. You
Mm-hmm.
know, every once in a while something goes wrong. And but it's amazing. Birth, a child's development in the womb and the birth is an amazing thing.
It's miraculous.
And yeah, I
It's
mean,
it's
and
totally miraculous.
it is. And people just they don't get it. I mean, you just don't get it until you, and even as a mom, it doesn't mean you automatically get it, you know, but it was just in studying everything from that point, you know, from those 40 weeks, are just an amazing thing to study and learn about. And it was when I started taking anatomy and physiology that I realized what an amazing thing our bodies are and what God gave us. And it changed me. It really did change me and made me realize what an amazing God we have, who created our bodies to be so beautifully made and put together, and that he cared about all the
Mm-hmm.
details.
You did.
So
Stephanie, were you ever a nurse?
no, I
You
wasn't.
would make a good one.
Yeah.
You would, you know.
In my spare time, I'll
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You need something else to do.
yeah.
I saw a picture on your Facebook of your mother bowling. Was that recent?
Oh yeah, that was just last weekend. We took
Really?
her. We went to this place called Main Event, and it was fun. We wanted a family place to go that we, you know, didn't matter what age everybody was, we could all go and hang out. And so we went bowling, and we found out my mother is a very good bowler. Who knew? So my 89-year-old mother
Yeah.
beat me.
Yeah. Betty White ain't got nothing on her.
No, no. But she wouldn't do the gravity ropes, which understandably we didn't take her up there. So,
Okay.
but that was fun.
That's good. Well, Stephanie, it's always an encouragement to have you come share, and I appreciate your
Thank
devotion
you.
to what we're doing here,
Mm.
and I am looking forward to your. Is your book going to be out this year? You and Starr?
Yes, yes. We're
Really?
hoping to get enough written that we can put it even in the Foundation Awards at Blue Ridge.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, we're
I'm
just,
feeling good. I'm feeling good about it. I really am.
yeah, I'm excited.
So needed. So needed. Now, maybe there is other work out there. I guess that's part of the research when you do a book to find out what similar work is out there.
Right.
What'd you find?
Well, I actually I didn't look into too many books, but Star did the books. But there's even a blog, and it's for basically mothers of special needs children.
Mm-hmm.
And she reached out to me, and then there's a whole conference where that this same woman has
Really?
for moms and families with special needs children. So they do conferences. So yeah, they're
Good.
actually trying to get, people to understand and have a support system for these families. So it's
Wonder
really
when they
cool.
have that conference. Wouldn't it be great to go to that if it's before the book comes out? But by then the
Yes,
book will be written.
right. You're right.
Stephanie, it's going to be a great year, and you're a part of it. And thank you. I mean, we have we're very blessed, and you have blessed us tonight.
Thank
And
you.
I appreciate not only your appearance here, but your ministry. I mean, every time I look at Facebook and see something, you're always inspiring and encouraging others, and you do the same here. And we love you. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for sharing with us tonight. And we'll see you about this time next month, right?
That's right. Thank you so much, Mark.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Boy, what a gem. Ha ha. Ha. Get it? Get it? Gem? Jim? Okay. Well, you get into what that was all about. But anyway, Stephanie Pavlantos, what a blessing she is. Can you be a blessing today to others? How about tomorrow? You're making all these New Year's resolutions, and it's things we want to do for personal improvement. Think about the things that we could do to improve others. It's just a word of encouragement sometimes is all it takes. And that's just a pretty small investment of time for some pretty eternal benefits, don't you think? Well, all right. Well, I actually have more work to do tonight. Boy, I can't wait to tell you what we're doing. We're doing. And I can't wait to get into that. And you all have been very gracious in staying a little bit extra with us. Thank you for your long suffering, and I hope that you've been blessed. As we leave, I would like to offer you a word of encouragement, but it's in the way of a challenge. You ready? It's only 2 questions. What is the boldest thing that you've ever done for Jesus Christ? Could be just a word of encouragement. Second question is, when was that? You see, if we're going to go deeper, really deeper, we can't let ourselves be satisfied with our answers to either of those 2 questions.